He stops at the light on East Main Street by Stop and Shop. A police SUV trundles lazily across the empty intersection. He has no idea where he's going. The ants are cutting the blood-stained part of his shirt into tiny shreds with their mandibles and carrying them away. The ants are cutting the blood-stained hairs from his scalp, and cutting the blood-stained hairs from his beard down to the skin. They are making frantic little chirping sounds that he can only hear when they work around his ears. He can feel the vibrations of their sharp little mandibles on his face and on his scalp. What does he do now? He is driving away from a bloody corpse in his bed. Jesus Christ, did you really just leave her there? He did. Like a panicking child. Like a nervous fucking dog who shit on the rug. Where are you gonna go? Mexico? What? Fuck you gonna do? Swim across the Rio Grande? Got a better idea? Fuck. Danny's dead. You killed her. Ants are stealing the half-chewed remains of her trachea out of his stomach right now. And he's taking a left onto East Main Street. Where are you going? Out loud in the car, he says, I don't know. His voice is hoarse and shaky and doesn't sound like his own voice. And he says, I don't know. And he says, you tell me. And the silence that follows pisses him off. He says, I mean it, you're in charge. I'm not in control. I know that. I accept that. Isn't that what you wanted? Isn't it? What do I do? Please, no, please. You gotta tell me what to do. Send me a sign, anything, please. I'm trying. Please, I swear to God, I'm doing my best. Anything, please, just... And so on. Gradually, the adrenaline drains from his blood, making his muscles feel worn and ravaged. He has to grit his teeth to keep his eyes open. The clock on the dash says 8888. The sky is starting to grow light. They are just now entering Avon. What are you gonna do? Sleep? They're going to find your fuck buddy dead in your bed anytime. Don't call her that. You fucking killed her. He wakes up in the middle of running a red light. He has no choice. He pulls over to the Barnes & Noble parking lot. 3 hours. That's all he can spare for sleeping, but hopefully it should be enough. He pulls out his phone to set a timer, but his phone is dead. There's something else in his pocket. Something familiar. Almost vaguely nostalgic. He works it slowly and awkwardly out of his pocket. It's an old-fashioned QWERTY phone, the kind that opens sideways. Why does he have this? Where did this come from? He stares at it dumbly for a while, then giving up on figuring it out before he gets some sleep, he sets a timer for 3 hours. He thinks it might be the same kind of phone he had when he was in high school. He does not make it to the back seat before he falls asleep. Danny is not in your bed. Danny is not in her body. That's not her body anymore. It is meat. There is meat on your bed, and it cannot be seen anymore because of the ants. Is this a dream? The ants are carrying chunks of blood-stained fabric, and pieces of meat, and pieces of skin, and pieces of organ, and pieces of bone, up the walls and lines like leafcutter ants do. They are carrying them into the vent on the ceiling, and out the hole in the screen, in the open window. In Ty's room, they are secreting some waxy substance over his nose and his mouth and over his eyes. It is pinkish yellow. His breath is somewhat labored, but he is still breathing. Am I dreaming now? They steal a scab from Ty, but otherwise they do not hurt him. Working as a team, they are removing the ground cable from the wire leading to the outlet by your bed. A phone is ringing. An alarm is going off. You are dreaming. Wake up. Run. He is hungry. He is driving. He is driving and ignoring his hunger. His left arm, resting in his lap, is completely numb and completely paralyzed. The sun is glaring down almost directly in front of him, glistening off the wet road. Apparently it rained while he was sleeping. The sun is glaring down in front of him and he is traveling east. It is past noon and he is still in Connecticut. He is still on 4 East. He should not have stopped. Why did he stop? Where is he going? What is he doing? How did he only make it to Avon? Did he really only drive 20 minutes last night? Is his angel fucking with him again? Honestly, he was so fucked up last night there was no way of knowing. Danny is dead. Jesus fucking Christ, Danny is dead. What the hell did you do? You met her in high school. They were in chamber choir together. They were the only kids in chamber choir that smoked weeds, or at least they thought they were at the time because they talked about it the most. He used to give his cousin $20 fucking for a handle of Dubra to slog down shot after cheap, lukewarm shot, smoking cigarettes they stole from her mom by a fire they'd built just off the trails behind Kmart. She said to him once, "You hear price right and you think it's right as in the price is right, but the way it's spelled is actually right as in ritual, so like price ritual, like right of the price." She wasn't always good for him, but she was always good to him. And now she's dead. You killed her. You called her over and you killed her. Jesus fucking Christ. So he's running away, and he's so tired, and he just wants to die, but he's too scared to stop running, so he's running. Where is he running? He's following 4 East. Shouldn't he be going west or south? Shouldn't he be leaving Connecticut? Why? Why does it matter? Why shouldn't he just run his car into a tree right now? Why the fuck not? He could probably get up to 80 or 90 before that next curve up there. Seriously, what else is he going to do? Bet he could hit 100 if he floors it. He presses on the gas. What else is he gonna do? Killing yourself won't bring Danny back. He's just killed a woman he had known since they were both children. He couldn't stop talking and now she's dead. How can he reasonably expect that that won't happen again? Control yourself next time. Out loud he says, "Fuck you." But still he pumps the brakes and takes the curve at 65. He is trying to light this cigarette, but it won't stop shaking, and the lighter is low on fuel, and his hands are numb. It is 3 in the morning. He is in Farmington. Where is he going? What is he doing? Why haven't they caught him yet? Why is this happening? What is happening? He started something he doesn't know how to finish. He doesn't know if there is a finish. Is he going to prison? Is he going to hell? Is he going to just keep driving until he dies? Has he died already? Is this hell? This can't be hell. There's an angel here. What did that guy say? Angels are the sentient fingers of God. Isn't hell where you go if God gives up on you? How can he be in hell with the finger of God pressed down on him, guiding him through? No, he can't go to hell for the same reason he can't go to prison, and for the same reason he can't go home. His angel doesn't want him to. God is never going to let him go. Never. He takes a deep breath. Sweat prickles his flesh unwholesomely. His tired heart races. You belong to the angel now, but you do not love it. Why? You know you belong to it. Would it not be better to learn to love it? He cannot refute the logic in this, but all he can feel is sick. So what is he doing? In your bedroom, you are frantically searching. What if it's not in here? It has to be in here. Where did you put it? What did you do with it? You are taking all the clothes out of your dresser. You are tearing the blankets and sheets off your bed. You are beginning to lose hope, but you cannot leave until you find it. Outside the door, your parents are fighting again. You can't tell what they're fighting about. You're trying to ignore it. Why don't you put it on a CD? All of your CDs are on the ground, and finding one that isn't scratched takes a long time. The dog barks at your father for yelling at your mother. Your father yells at the dog for barking at him. Your mother yells at your father for yelling at the dog. They yell at each other. Of course they aren't fighting about you. This has nothing to do with you. Stop crying. It's just that all these CDs are scratched. Is it so much to ask that one of these CDs isn't scratched? It's happening again and you can't stop it. The CD is skipping and neither of you care. In a car by the dam of Newfield Road, you are manically fucking. It's going to happen again. Are you going to be able to stop it this time? Control yourself. You close your eyes and grit your teeth. You try so hard to hold it in. Focus on your breathing. Think of something else. There is nothing else. What else is there? She's gone now, and you're alone. And you're naked from the waist down by the dam of Newfield Road. Hell of a eulogy. It's starting to get cold at night. There's a tapping at the window. There's an LED flashlight shining on him through his window. Checking first his pockets, then the dashboard, he finds the keys. And turning them one click in the ignition, he rolls the window down. Can I see your license and registration? Without thinking, he complies. The cop says nothing. Is there a problem? I'll be right back. The cop walks back to his car. Forgets to breathe until he starts to get dizzy. Then, gasping, he takes several long measured breaths, in through the nose, out through the mouth. It doesn't help. He's still dizzy. It's like there's no oxygen in the air. Like he's trying to breathe in a vacuum and his lungs are contracting and expanding, but he's still suffocating. Should he run? What would be the point? You know you can't get away. Remember that pregnant lady that got run off the road by a cop? Fucking flipped her car over. What did they call it? Pit maneuver. You think the West Hartford police don't have the exact same training? You think they wouldn't do it to you? Even if they don't know you're a murderer. If? How could they not know he's a murderer? Even if that dream was real and the ants have somehow gotten rid of her body. If? Even without a body, she went to see her boyfriend's apartment and then both of them abruptly disappeared. Tale as old as time. Now the boyfriend is alone in a car in West Hartford. Maybe he should just come clean and hope for the best. The cop is walking towards him now, silhouetted by headlights, hands hovering over his utility belt like this is some fucking spaghetti western. Prick. Handing him back his license and registration, the cop says, "What are you doing here tonight?" Look him in the eyes. Always look cops in the eyes. That's the most important thing. Their training says that people can't lie while making eye contact. Think of it like a job interview. Just was sleeping.
Had a few?
No, just tired. Don't have money for a hotel and I was struggling to keep my eyes open, so I pulled over to take a nap.
Yeah?
Yeah. The cop says nothing. He's trying to make you feel paranoid. Fear is guilt. Don't let them scare you. Finally, the cop says, "Well, look, we got some concerned residents. Saw your car, called it in. Thought maybe you were up to something." What? No, like I said, I was just sleeping. I was fatigued after a long day's drive, and I didn't want to fall asleep behind the wheel.
Sure, I'm sure you were. Lots of old folks around here, you know how they are. Tell you what, do us both a favor. There's a Cumbies 2 blocks that way. Get yourself a coffee or an energy drink or whatever. Get where you're going safe, okay?
Yeah, sure, thanks.
No problem. Drive safe.
Yep. He spends the better part of that morning in the congested snarl of the Hartford Turnpike. There is no specific moment when he realizes where he's going. He gradually becomes aware of it, like sickness or hunger. Maybe on some level he knew all along. Maybe the angel was just guiding him. Did you think you were alone? Of course not. He's never alone anymore, he knows that. He just can't help feeling lonely sometimes. Feeling abandoned sometimes. He can't help it. It's part of being human. He takes exit 48B towards the hospital. He's going to finish what he started. He has nothing else. He drives all day in the stop-and-go metropolitan traffic while city smells drift in and out of his open window. Car exhaust and falafels and tobacco and barbecue and trash and fast food and hot tarmac. Periodically a whiff of marijuana. His arms and legs are cramping and his back is murder and he has to piss. He hasn't pissed since he stopped at Cumbies for coffee this morning. Every time he thinks about stopping, he sees another blue hospital sign and he thinks, how much further could it be? It's stupid. Now he's in pain and he's nauseous. And any second he's going to piss the only pair of pants he's got. The sun is already going down when he pulls over at a Subway. He has to ask for a key, and a single mother of two with brown hair and gray roots tells him that the restroom is for customers only. He tells her he'll buy a sandwich after, and she looks at him skeptically, but hands him the key saying, "Just please don't make a mess in there." He wonders what the hell she means by that until after he pisses and sees himself in the mirror. His beard is growing back in sparse, nervous patches, and his hair is missing in random chunks. What's not missing is visibly dirty. There are deep circles under his hungry, sick eyes, and lines in his face he does not remember being there before. His shirt is bug-eaten and filthy. He is unmistakably tired and hungry and filthy and sick. She must have thought he was homeless. He supposes he kind of is now. She looks surprised when he comes back and actually does order a 12-inch Italian BMT with mayo, mustard, pepper jack, and all the veggies, but she doesn't say anything. He adds a bag of Sun Chips and a macadamia nut cookie. He says, "I've never had a Subway cookie before." And she's too polite to tell him that she doesn't give a fuck what kind of cookies he has or has not had before. And she says, "Oh yeah?" "Yeah." She says nothing, but rings up his order. "Are they any good?" "The cookies?" "Yeah. They're fine." The hospital is right across the street. How did he not notice that? He finds a parking space on the 3rd level of the parking garage. He stands next to his car and he eats his sandwich and he smokes a cigarette. He curls up in the back and lays awake for a long time before he falls asleep. Now that Tootsie Pop is gone, and you were always told, were you not, that you were never to trust strangers? That you are never to get into a stranger's car? Now who is this driving you? He is looking at you in the rearview mirror, like a prize he's just won. Do you see now? Stupid child. Out the window is an unfamiliar interstate. I'm sorry I yelled at you. You're too trusting. It's an endearing shortcoming, but it's dangerous. Listen to me. Do you know what this man is going to do to you if I don't stop him? I'm going to have to do something that you're not going to like. I just hope you know I'm doing it for you. Close your eyes. Good boy. You can open your eyes now. You are an adult again. You are in your home. A voice is calling a name. Wait, that's my mom. Ignore it. She's calling my name. Ignore it. Against your better judgment, you walk into the kitchen. She is slumped against the oven, dead eyes staring dumbly at the congealing pool of her own blood. Another voice is calling. Ignore him. That's my dad. He's calling from the bathroom. He's calling my name and asking what's happening. Ignore him. I don't know what's happening. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have come here. There is no sound from the bathroom. Dad? Blood oozes from under the bathroom door. Dad? Your lover's thick arms wrap around you. Her thick body presses up against you. She says, "Where have you been?" It's not fair. There's a knock at the window. Fuck. He's got to stop waking up like this. What is he going to tell this cop? Crawling over the center console, he wonders if the cop can arrest him if he tells them he's homeless. He thinks they can. Will they? He grabs the keys off the dash and pauses. Will it help if he tells them his house burnt down? Would that be telling them too much? Would it be suspicious that he doesn't smell like smoke? Yeah, probably. So what is he going to tell this cop? There's another knock. There's a key in the ignition, and he rolls down the window. He swallows several times, but the lump in his throat does not go away. Come on out now. You're not in any trouble. We're not tower or police. We too are servants of angels. Come on out now. You're not in any trouble. We're not tower or police. We too are servants of angels. Come on out now. You're not in any trouble. We're not tower or police. We too are servants of angels. There's a box of Joe and a dozen stale donuts on the hood of his car. The stranger is staring into a half-eaten Boston cream as though trying to read its entrails. The sinner is angrily smoking his last cigarette. He wanted so badly for so long for this to be over. And now here he is at the finish line, and what does he have left? He sips his coffee and takes a drag off his cigarette, and he says, "So now what?" "Whenever you're ready, we will initiate the next phase of your purification." "Then what? You take your angel back, give me my money, and send me on my way? After our angel?" "The angel. Whatever. Just your angel." The stranger throws down his Boston cream into an ugly little garden 3 stories below. "Do you know what angels are?" "Sentient fingers of God?" "Sentient fingers of God, exactly. And do you know what God is?" Let me rephrase that. Do you know what God does?" "A God demands sacrifice?" "Yes, that's part of it, but overall, what God does is God destroys chaos." The supplicant grabs a glazed donut. It is not very good. He says, "So how does that make this angel mine?" "Think about it this way. Think about our pre-human ancestors. Think about life as a wild animal. That's chaos, you see? Nothing. The stars, the seasons, and the earth, they all follow a grand order. They all follow set patterns. They are part of one great cosmic mechanism. But an animal doesn't see that. A wild animal lives in the wild. Nothing follows a set pattern, nothing is predictable, anything can happen at any time. There's food, they eat. There isn't, they starve. There's a predator, maybe they run, maybe they die, maybe they get mauled and die of an infection later, maybe they get away. It's all completely arbitrary, you see? A series of meaningless events and then death. People aren't like that. At one point, Homo erectus looked up at the stars and saw the grand cosmic device, and they understood order as no animal had ever understood before, and that's when they became Homo sapiens. That's what lets God work through human hearts. You see? That's why God chose humanity over all the other animals. Look at where we are. Look at the city. Everywhere, humans impose order into chaos. Imperfectly, but instinctively. From cities like this, to technologically primitive tribes on the Amazon, we make lights or fire to keep the darkness at bay. Medicines to keep disease away. We tame or destroy entire ecosystems. And God helps us do this with the angels? Not exactly. God does not help us, we help God. We are tools of God. You are a tool, and the angel is the hand that operates you. The cultist pulls out a pack of cigarettes and offers one to the new convert, who can see that they are menthol but takes one anyways. I'm confused. That's normal. No, I mean, fundamentally what you're saying makes no fucking sense. How so? Well, I mean, it's just that, I hate to say it, I mean, do you have any idea what I've been through? I think I have a fair idea. I heard you had a run-in with tower agents. I just spent 2 days on what should have been a 45-minute drive. Ever since I got the angel, I have been starved and filthy and dehydrated and terrified. I don't mean to sound ungrateful. It did rescue me from tower agents, but for fuck's sake, I black out and murder people. I murdered a woman. I killed a woman I cared a lot about. My entire life has been fucking chaos. Chaos like I never knew existed. I mean, I don't mean to... but... The cultist stares at him obliquely and says nothing. Half his face is in deep shadow, cast by the overhead lights. The new convert is made to feel ashamed. He says, "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to... I shouldn't say things like that. There's a difference between chaos and order that you don't understand." Right. You're right, of course. Do you know why that wild animal's life is chaos? No, you're right. Forget I said anything. I'm sorry. Do you know why there is still chaos among people? I'm sorry. I really shouldn't have. Do you know why? Do you know where chaos comes from? Tell me. Free will. The new convert smokes his cigarette and nods. You must learn to stop trusting yourself and trust your angel instead. Yeah. Are you ready to be purified? Oh, God. Are you ready? Can I finish my cigarette first? Okay. Thank you. The cigarette is half gone. He should ask more questions. This might be his last chance for God only knows how long. His cigarette is down to the last quarter. If he asks what it is to be purified, they won't tell him. Or they'll lie like they did at the beginning of this. Did they lie? They would lie now. Does it matter? You've already decided to do this thing, regardless of what it is. It doesn't matter. He tastes filter. The ember falls to the ground. Are you ready? Though he can see the stairwell from where he is parked, it takes them half an hour to reach it. They walk the whole way in silence. The pilgrim is cradling his angel in his good arm like an injured child. The guide walks with his hands clasped, as though in prayer, though his head is not bowed and his eyes are not closed. As they walk up the stairs, his guide says, "So listen, this is the second part of your purification. It's called the coming to. It is a formal declaration of your devotion to your angel. It is very simple. There will be 5 attendants. Do everything they say, when they say. Can you do that? What are they going to make me do? Your faith and devotion will both be tested. I can't tell you more than that. That and this. No matter what the ordeal, believe me, you do not want to fail your angel." And it's not clear whether he nods subtly to the wound in the pilgrim's forearm or if the pilgrim is just imagining it. The first attendant meets them at the top of the stairs. She is a thick-set woman with red hair and gray roots and tired eyes. She takes the backpack away from him so suddenly efficiently that he doesn't have time to react. He takes one hurried step after her, but his guide stops him with a hand across the chest. The woman leaves the vestibule. The pilgrim waits for the guide to remove his hands. After several seconds, they walk out of the vestibule together. They are on the roof of the parking garage. There are LED streetlights all around. They cannot see the sky, but the sky can see them. There are 3 cardboard cubicles forming a triangle at the center of which is a stainless steel tub. His gut and his balls and his asshole all clinch together for a second as the first attendant takes her place behind the tub with his angel in its bag on a pedestal in front of her. The Jansport is discarded. The Ice Princess's face is obscured by blood, but he knows how she is looking at him. The guide leads the pilgrim by the right arm to the closest cubicle on the left and says, "Make your angel proud," before leaving him forever. In the first cubicle there is a handsome young man. He is tall and thin and in his early 20s. This is the second attendant. He tells the pilgrim to kneel, and the pilgrim presses his cramping legs into the kneeling position on the cement. The handsome young man reads from a small book. He says, "First, you must renounce your earthly possessions. Earthly possessions divert faith away from your angel, who is your conduit to God, and places faith instead in yourself. Your home, and all that you own therein, has already been destroyed. Give me your clothes, and all you have on you, so that you may learn better to trust your angel over your own devices. You may stand now." He closes the book. The pilgrim stands and peels off his clothing, exposing his filthy, flabby, sore-infested body to the handsome young man, who takes his clothes and his billfold and his keys and leads him by the arm, cold and naked, to the cubicle directly across. His hands are smooth and firm. In the second cubicle there is a hunched old man. He smells like wet cigarettes and bread mold. This is the third attendant. He tells the pilgrim to kneel, and the pilgrim kneels on the concrete. The old man reads from the same book. "Second, you must renounce your earthly sight. Earthly sight diverts faith from your angel, who is your conduit to God, and places it instead in your sight and in yourself. You will be blinded so that you may learn better to trust your angel over your own devices. Tilt your head back and close your eyes." The pilgrim does as he is told, and the old man places thick gauze pads over his eyes and tapes them thoroughly with medical tape. He leads the pilgrim by the arm, naked and blind, to the cubicle across and to the right. His hands are cold. His skin is like paper. The second attendant walks behind. In the third cubicle, the voice of a young woman tells the pilgrim to kneel, and he fumbles blindly to the ground. She is the fourth attendant. She says, "Third, you must renounce your bodily autonomy. Bodily autonomy diverts faith away from your angel, who is your conduit to God, and places it instead in yourself. Your wrists and your ankles will be cuffed, so that you may learn better to trust your angel over your own devices. Cross your wrists behind your back." The pilgrim does as he is told, and his wrists and his ankles are cuffed. The cuffs are sharp and cold. They haul him to his feet, the second and the third attendant. They lead him, the old man holding his left arm, the young man holding his right, and the young woman's hands lightly, reluctantly around his throat. Her hands are small and calloused. They set him down on his knees in front of the stainless steel tub. The fifth attendant, who was the first attendant, says, "Finally, you must renounce your voice. You will not be gagged because you must learn silence and thereby obedience. Open your mouth." The pilgrim does as he is told. "Keep this coin in your mouth and hold it with your teeth. You must neither swallow it nor spit it out until you have finished your coming to and begin your journey together." The pilgrim clamps the coin between his left molars. The fifth attendant turns to the wide empty parking lot and shouts, "Life is frail because of the many needs of the living, represented here by salt and water. In the beginning there was only salt and water, and the salt needed nothing, and the water needed nothing, and all was in perfect order because everything was inert. From salt and water came life, and life was imperfect because of the needs of the living. The living needs salt and water and sunlight, and members of their own kinds to mate with and be with, and members of other kinds to eat and to hide from. From need sprung sentience, and from sentience was chaos. And God loved the sentience, but God was sickened by the chaos. So God sent angels to all human beings, in hopes that they would impose order on the living world. But though they were the best among the living, yet still were they the living, and they were imperfect because of their needs, and they found the burdens of their angels too hard. So gradually they built mental barriers around their angels. The human beings constructed idols, first in the world and then in their minds, artificial gods, to tell them what they wanted to hear and drown the voices of their angels. You were born into the world of artificial gods. To be purified, you must learn to listen only to the voice of your angel. This is what you must do. All 6 hands pressed suddenly on the backs of the pilgrim's shoulders and the back of his neck, pushing his collarbone down to the rim of the stainless steel tub. The metal is cold, and he can smell the water. The final attendant, who was the first attendant, says, "Before you stand up, you must hold your head under the water until your angel gives you permission to come up." The pilgrim recognizes the fingers that weave themselves into his hair. They are the angel's fingers. The water is so cold it hurts. He clenches his jaw hard on the coin in his teeth. Air comes hissing out his nostrils in fat bubbles before he can stop it. His arms and legs squirm helplessly in their restraints. His body spasms like an injured bug. Involuntarily, he pulls his head out and he coughs and he chokes, but he keeps his jaw clenched and he does not lose his coin. When his ears unclog, he hears the voice of the first and fifth attendant. She says, "Again!" This time he has just enough time to hold his breath. The cold is not a shock this time, though it gives him a headache, and the salt water soaks into the gauze pads that are taped over his eyes and stings them no matter how hard he squeezes his eyelids shut. The fingers of his angel are not holding him down now. They are caressing him. He wants to please it. He wants to do right. But he doesn't know how much longer he can hold his breath. The air in his lungs ferments and expands and forces its way out. His body jerks his head out, and he loses his balance. The attendants steady him and keep him on his knees. Hissing gasps for air, growling in frustration and self-recrimination. His head is splitting with cold and oxygen deprivation. His jaw is still clenched. He has not lost his coin. He hears the voice of the first and fifth attendant. She says, "Again!" Even with his lungs full of fresh air, he is dizzy. Angels don't know what it is to need air. Angels don't know what it is to need. But isn't that the point? Overcoming need? The air is starting to sour in his lungs. Just let it go. He grits his teeth harder around his coin. It hurts. Everything hurts. Your angel has only one need, and it's you. You are all your angel has. Just let go. All we need is each other. His body starts to writhe in panic, but he holds it down. Slowly, deliberately, he lets the air out of his lungs. His body tries to pull his head out, but he holds it down. Tiny dark explosions pop off in slow motion on the inside of his head. He clenches his teeth, and his eyes, and his fists, and his asshole. His angel will let him up soon. It has to. He's going to die. Just a little longer. He's going to die. His chest is burning. His head is filling with darkness. Please! It's okay. You can come up now. He is only vaguely aware of the attendants talking to him as he chokes and gasps and still does not lose his coin. Then he is alone, uncuffed but still naked on the cement. He pulls the bandages off his eyes and totters over to his feet. His vision is bleary and his head hurts, but he is proud. He did good. He finds a paper bag in the vestibule next to the stairwell. It contains 4 identical outfits. White trousers and white long-sleeve button-up shirts. There are 4 pairs of socks and 4 pairs of boxers. There's a $20 bill and a set of keys he does not recognize. There's a small framed picture on the keychain. It is a cabin in the woods. It is the chemist's cabin.